spots. It depends. Um,
All right.
and with how cold I'm going,
Good evening,
anything that
everybody.
falls and it'll be out of the snow.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right, we're live, everybody. Good evening. I'm Vice Forecaster Jay Rapp with you. Illinois Storm Watch. I'm sending this to USA Severe Weather Network and YouTube. We got Jonathan from Planet Star on with us tonight. We're tracking the winter weather that's coming in tomorrow evening, and we're into this. We've been talking about this in the last couple of days, how bad it could get, and how things could be. So right now, I'm going to turn things over to Isaac.
Okay. JD, why don't you go to weather.gov and then show the national watch warning and advisory map? Because a lot of
All
us are
right,
curious.
I'm ready on here. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Let me
yeah,
change this, I guess.
yeah. So again, I'm going to point out that again we're seeing things develop now over the high plains.
Right.
Yeah. There
Exactly.
we are. You can see winter storm
This
warnings
is
pretty much the
unprecedented.
entirety of Texas. Yeah, exactly. I
Right.
mean, this this is as good as it gets, folks. The entirety of
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. I'm sure. Yeah,
Arkansas.
yeah. Even the entirety of Arkansas. Like these entire states are under winter storm
Mm-hmm.
warnings. Yeah,
Exactly. And I must say this is just storm number one. Another one is coming
and
midweek.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there are hundred. Yeah, exactly. There are 164, or no, 161 million people under some form of winter storm or winter weather headline, either winter storm watch, winter storm warning, winter weather, uh, winter weather advisory. Again, one of those headlines. At least 161 million. That's pretty much half of the country's population that
Yeah.
are under winter storm warnings or winter storm
Right.
watches. Again, all of
And
these
wind
headlines. So this is just to show how,
chill.
Yes,
yeah,
I want to
definitely.
say that we're under a wind chill watch here.
Yeah. Um, and
Okay, hold
just
on. I
like the
was.
National Weather Service in the Lincoln, Illinois River Valley, we are under a wind chill warning now too. So I mean, looks like just the scope of this system altogether. Again, this is a very strong ridge, a very strong low pressure system, and it's going to tap into quite a bit of Gulf moisture. And right now, it's forming over the high plains. We could get some of the satellite
Exactly.
data. Yeah, and that's just what I've been seeing here, just monitoring some of the trends here with that, and obviously, and it's clear to me that this system is starting to develop here. Like it's producing some heavy snowfall as it pushes east of Albuquerque, the I-25 corridor, into some of that more elevated terrain there in eastern New Mexico, the high plains. And now, as this activity continues to push into Texas, we're going to watch as this gets parallel to the Gulf of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that is going to provide for quite a bit of
Right.
moisture and warm air direction into
Yeah,
this.
this is.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I was going to say something also, too, again. Let me say something, too. I mean, this is going to be a major winter storm, and the wind chill values are going to be bad, too. But the blowing snow is going to be a concern also, Isaac. That's what's going to be a problem, right?
yeah, some
Right.
areas could we could be
I'm gonna
talking.
touch on that. I mean,
Yeah,
blowing snow, near blizzard conditions are expected in Texas and Oklahoma. Blizzard. I've never said blizzard in Texas. The last time we had anything close to a blizzard was 11 years ago on this day when we were hosting the Super Bowl in 2010. So that goes to show it's been
Wow.
a time since we've seen anything around here. The last time we had snow to actually fall, it wasn't measurable. It was just a trace. Was just 3 weeks ago, January the 10th, 2021. The last
I remember
measurable
that.
snow we had was last year, January 10th, 2020.2 inches of snow. We haven't had over an inch of snow in a long time, and our weather service was a historical winter storm moving through our area, and we're expecting upwards of 4, 8, in isolated areas could see 12 inches as this is all said and done by next Friday. So we're expecting a lot of snow. This is just system number one to move through the southern area. We get another winter
Yeah.
storm Wednesday and Thursday, and recently that one has been shown to be a little bit more significant than the one we have moving
Ice.
through tonight, tomorrow. Ice storm will be mainly along the coast. Realize the whole state of Texas is getting ready to be under a winter storm warning by the morning. It may change by 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Usually that's when by 10 o'clock when get more information, we'll have a better handle on everything. But so far, we're
Yeah.
still expecting a powdery snow. Now, let me give you an advantage on that. One of the advantages is we may have less, you know, power outages. But a disadvantage is dry, powdery snow accumulates faster, which means we'll have more. And our Governor Greg Abbott issued a state of emergency for the whole state of Texas. Um,
Here,
Again, we're
I'm gonna
expecting blizzard
tell by something.
conditions tomorrow night through Monday morning
Hmm.
across a huge chunk of Texas.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something over here. Especially if you
Go
under
ahead,
a
JB.
blizzard, if you under a blizzard warning, folks, or if you're even your emergency manager decide to your emergency manager or your governor decide to shut your town down, that means do not travel. That's a good way of getting a ticket if you do, right, Jonathan?
Again, travel's not prohibited. It's just I mean emergency response and plowing of some areas, especially secondary and tertiary roadways, are going to be difficult. And again, we're talking amounts like anywhere from like the 6 to 10 inch range, averaging with this system, and it's going to be again it's going to be like again we're watching again we're going to watch here later tomorrow as this onsets over parts of the plains, and as this ultimately tracks over the mid South into the Ohio Valley, heading
Mm-hmm.
into late Sunday into Monday. We're definitely going to be watching as headlines are issued here later on, but we do expect that. Corridor of highest totals to ultimately track along the Ohio and the Tennessee Valley regions here, and that'll ultimately make its
Mm-hmm.
way towards Lake, so like parts of northwest Kentucky, southeast Indiana, much of Ohio, towards Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. That's definitely the highest, the heaviest totals we are expecting with that. So it'll be averaging in the 6 to 10 inch range. It'll probably be there will probably be a narrow swath of much heavier snow, probably in excess of maybe isolated totals over a foot in some locations where the heaviest snow bands do set up. But again, this is very prolific moisture returns again with this system. So I mean, we've been noting this several days in advance. And again, when you see these systems that tap into all this modest Gulf advection, and there's you can definitely assume there's plenty of moisture available in these weather disturbances, and we're definitely going to be tracking these
Yeah.
impacts across again across the Midwest as well. And you can see it's not only the winter weather we're concerned about, and this is all this Arctic cold that is over much of the northern plains into the Midwest. You can see a whole bunch of areas are under wind chill warnings, and again, it's just that Arctic cold. And again, that is going to enhance the snow ratios, and we've been seeing what the models have been saying, and I mean, we could be talking even heavier totals than what we're expecting here, and I mean, just because of that Arctic cold that's in place further aloft. And Jonathan, is there anything else you would like to touch upon, or anything that?
Well, as I was saying about the roadways, um, across all the major metropolitan areas in Texas, they have closed. Yeah, just leave that up. They have closed
Thank you.
the um they've closed the major interstates, and sorry, they've closed the HOV and express lanes because TxDOT does not want to operate on those lanes. They want to focus on Interstate 35, since all virtually, if you're going from I-20 to I-20 to I-10, I-10 to I-35 to I-35 to I-45 to I-45, any major interstate you're on in Texas will have ice or snow on it this weekend into early next week. And then it's even worse for next Wednesday with more of an ice storm expected in South Texas and more of a heavier snowstorm expected in Texas and Oklahoma. And the thing is, I want to say this. Some of us in Texas could break our all-time record lows
Yeah,
and
I can see it.
all-time record high lows coming in here by Tuesday. I have 1 degrees for Dallas Fort Worth Tuesday morning. One above. And if we get more snow, which is probably likely than what's expected, because the computer models have not, you helpful for us for this past week, and they've proven to show how bad they've been on this Arctic air. And with the precipitation, it's a bit hard to predict what we have going on in Texas. I know there will be
Mm-hmm.
precipitation tomorrow, and the precipitation will be heavy. But not only that, the blizzard is in our forecast, and I don't
Yeah.
say blizzard unless I go to DQ and get one. Otherwise, I don't say blizzard in the weather forecast. Never have said it ever since I've been doing weather, and I've been doing weather a long time. So this
No, I don't think I heard you said it,
crazy,
but
and
let me see. Yeah,
it's very rare.
yeah. Let me say some things again. So, like I said, this is a blizzard. Like Jonathan's saying, this is a blizzard, and definitely there's going to be some significant extreme impacts from this. So, you definitely, if you don't have to be out tomorrow or Monday, especially down there in Texas or even Southern Illinois, I wouldn't get out because not even this night we seen a snowstorm. We can see some very cold temperatures, and you can get frostbite, hyperthermia pretty quickly. Right, Isaac?
That's true. I'm gonna be a living witness. If I go out in cold, I catch hypothermia quickly. So I can't be out in cold too long.
Me either.
That's why I have to come in, or
Yeah,
I will
if I'm
start
outside in the
to begin to freeze.
if I'm outside in the cold a lot, I start in getting bronchitis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'll point out it's because of the northerly winds that we've been seeing with this. It's all that. It's
This is
because
dangerous.
Yes,
yeah,
very
definitely.
dangerous.
Yeah, I'll touch on that for sure. And again, it's because of the winds and just the magnitude that with what we got here.
Dangerous weather.
Again,
And let me
it's
say this. We've been touching on snow and ice.
okay. Oop, there we are. So I'll fix something again.
And ice a lot lately, but there's more that will be dangerous about this storm than just precipitation. Wind, wind a factor in this storm. That's why we're saying blizzard conditions. Wind will also be a factor in this storm. Snow drifts are possible in this where I live. Snow drifts are in the forecast, and that is something I don't really say. If we get snow, it usually melts on contact.
Yeah.
Because of course, as many of
Yeah.
us say down here, this is Also, you have to remember, tell her what you get in Texas. So we may say this is a rare scenario, and it's also rare to see two of them in 1 week, but
Yes.
that is what's coming.
Yeah. All right, Isaac. Right, Isaac. I just to
Two
say
in a week.
this.
So as you can see, a good chunk of the country. If I had to say how much percentage is in some type of chill or winter weather alert, that includes wind chill
Mm,
advisories and wind chill warnings.
yes.
A better
Yeah.
five people in the country is under some type of a winter alert right now. So that
Could you
means
repeat
only
that
one out
number?
of five people.
What you say, Isaac?
Again, it's the population statistics that we've
This
looked
is
at.
a significant list of Arctic air. Um, it's
So,
not something. The last time we had a big that chose to go south instead of east was 2007. Um, it didn't get
like, yeah, I'll point out in the meantime here. Um, Again, this is a very strong upper system. Just just given that, again, this is we've had this elongated period of Arctic air that's been
Mm-hmm.
over much of the Great Lakes, and now pretty much this is another wave that's impacting much of the northern parts of the country as we speak here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're talking stratus, when we're talking about very low temperatures and everything, so the heights with this system, just overall
Mm-hmm.
geopotential heights, are very low, and over
Mm-hmm.
much of the northern plains. Again, this is where you're not going to get much solar radiation or anything because a lot of the air mass is from the polar latitudes, pretty much anywhere above the Arctic Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about that, again, you're talking with the winds coming from the poles, or northerly winds and stuff. That's going to generate the chill in the air because the temperatures are really low in some areas. And then you're talking just a light wind, and just
And
that
it's
may
very
generate,
chilly.
yeah, on exposed skin, that could be wind chills again below 25 below in some cases. That
Yeah.
that could bring you
Yeah. Let
frostbite in
me
a matter of
let me
less than
tell people some other
2 minutes.
things, Isaac, while we're on here right now with this whole wind chill advisory thing. I'm concerned with another thing, folks. If we do get the wind chill is very dangerous, and we want to keep people out of the hospital best we can, right, Isaac?
Well, right. Again, it's not only the wind chills that we're concerned about. We're going to be talking about, assuming a 10-1 snow ratio. This is why what we've been talking about, the snow accumulations averaging in the 6 to 10 inch range.
Yeah.
But then the snow ratios are likely going to be higher than that. So, like, for every 1 inch of liquid equivalent precip, you'd be talking about a drier snow, and then now we could be talking
Mm-hmm.
snow amounts like not just 6 to 10 average. It could average more than that. Again, just
Mm-hmm.
embedded within some of the heavier snow bands that do track across sections of. Again, the heaviest snows are likely across the Ohio Valley towards the eastern Great Lakes, generally, but also like when we're talking about like Oklahoma and Texas, we're not talking the apocalyptic snow amounts or any by any means there,
Mm-hmm.
but just maybe several inches, and definitely 6 to 10 averaging just more embedded totals, 6 to 10 within there. But obviously, the heaviest snowfall of 8 to 12 inches would be across sections of again, Tennessee and Ohio Valley towards eastern Great Lakes,
Right.
and again, I will point out the snow ratios are higher. So when we're talking those amounts, you could see a little bit more, like some areas could see more than what's forecast, because it's a dry, cold. This is the dry, cold component with this snow.
All right, and
Again, it's
All
more
right,
solid.
Jonathan wants to talk for a second. Go ahead, Jonathan.
but here's the deal. Here's the. Let me talk about. Right.
We're having trouble hearing either, Jonathan.
Right, and let me touch on that. Let me touch on that real quickly. The
All right, you want to? I don't know what's going on with his speakers.
I think it's
Yeah.
his upload speed or something.
the normal snow ratio for Texas is 8-1, and the normal snow
Okay.
ratio. Is 20-1. The snow ratio, according to the United States,
Okay, hold on.
And we still got the ice storm warnings in place too, and that's going to cause some significant problems also.
Yeah, definitely. And again, you're talking the Northeast and all that too. This is where you're talking along the southeast quadrant of this system, and generally that's where you'd likely find the slightly warmer temperatures, especially just right above this, just like within a mile off the ground. That's where you're talking a little bit of a temperature inversion profile. And when we're talking that and all the saturated air that's in place, just with all this moisture that's present here, you're definitely going to be talking about a component of this storm system overall that's going to lead to some heavy mixed precipitation as well. So again, obviously some areas just across the south and towards maybe the upper Tennessee Valley, towards the Appalachians. That's where I think we're expecting the heaviest freezing rain, maybe some sleet as well, some moderate heavy sleet with this system as well. And again, it's because we have more elevated surfaces and higher terrain too. I think that's where we're going to expect some of the heaviest pavement and just ground ice accretion. But I think that's also going to be an issue when it comes to falling tree branches and power lines, where we have parts of Virginia and just
then your house is going to be cold.
Headlines. Yeah, and again, I will point out there are also winter weather advisories for periods of freezing rain just across other parts of the Atlantic basin or the eastern upper eastern seaboard, and even into sections of New York, into just a lot of these coastal areas across coastal New England as well here. And just clarifying what we're expecting here, just again, we'll be talking some snow accumulation in excess of some light snow accumulation, but also on top of a little bit of icing as well. So when we're talking about this just unique combination of winter weather that we're expecting. Just generally that's going to cause some travel impacts just when it comes to slippery roads and definitely very slick roadways, slick interstates, and again, where the heaviest snow does fall, and where the heaviest ice occurs, the lowest temperatures do occur. We're definitely concerned about some of the. Some like no one's gonna, not too many people will be able to get out and about, and especially during the extreme cold. It's definitely important to
Yeah, that's
have a
the
plan
problem.
for warmth. And
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you
again,
about
if
something
you
again.
get stranded.
Let me, yeah, yeah. That's the same thing, but that's why before we've been trying to tell you all week long to just get your groceries, whatever you need to do before this happens, because nobody, no emergency manager wants to pull you out when there's cold air. It puts them in risk too.
Yeah, definitely. And again, emergency response, just over a broad part of the country. I mean, you're talking like many accidents being reported, like just a high volume of emergency response that is needed in events like these. It
Yeah,
could be a very high demand for emergency managers to keep up with.
yeah,
So again, this is why again, try to stay off the roads as much as you can and listen to local health safety guidelines. Definitely very important. And make sure you have all your supplies, non-perishables, um, and just have a way to receive information, and local news and all that. And again, I will clarify what Jonathan was saying here just few moments ago.
Wait,
The
can you
snow
hear me
ratio.
now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Um, as I was saying, the normal snow ratio in, let's just use Dallas and Houston. Normal snow
okay,
ratio in Dallas is 8-1. The normal snow ratio in Houston is 5-1. Snow ratios in Houston are in between 14-1 to 20-1. Snow ratios in
Snow
Dallas
ratios in
tomorrow
Dallas
are
tomorrow are
15-1
15 to
to
1,
25-1.
25 to 1.
So
So,
So we may
so
see a
we
bit
may
more
see a bit
snow
more snow
in certain
in
isolated
certain
areas
isolated
than what is
areas than what is
forecasted.
forecasted.
Um,
Um,
and the
and
NWS
the
is going with
NWS
4 to
is going with
10
4 to 10
in
in
certain areas
certain
around
areas
here.
around here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
again,
So, again,
just
just
reiterating. Hey,
reiterating, hey,
we're getting some
we're
feedback.
getting some feedback.
Do me a
So,
favor and turn off
do me
any
a
like
favor.
external speakers you guys got. But again, I will again reiterate. What we mean by snow
sorry.
ratio is, when we're talking more cold, dry snow versus wet and maybe warmer snow that's closer to the freezing point. And on average, the snow ratios tend to be, again, the 8-1, 5-1 range across the South. But this is an extraordinary circumstance where it's much colder and drier further aloft, and where all this saturated air is in place, with all this moisture, with all the moisture profiles we're seeing, and very low temperatures, just with this elongated area of Arctic cold that we're talking about. The snow ratios are going to be higher. So we could be talking. Some locations could be anywhere from 15 to even higher. So when we're talking all this dry air that's in place, just in lieu of all this Arctic high pressure that's further aloft, um, that's over much of the middle latitudes of the country, the lower 48. Again, that is going to contribute to higher snow ratio. So if you would assume maybe instead of a 10-1 ratio, which generally a lot of the accumulation maps would assume the 10-1 profile. This could be a situation where the snow ratios may build to anywhere from 15-1. Who knows? Maybe even up to for every inch of liquid precip, you could get, I don't know, with the dry content of the atmosphere, you could be talking much higher accumulations. It could probably
Yes.
be for every liquid inch of rain, it could be like well over 20 inches of snow of dry, cold snow that's really packed together because obviously the colder it is, water freezes more substantially, and this is what we're talking about. Like that's with all this Gulf advection and extreme Arctic cold, you get that combination. Then where the heaviest snow bands do set up, do expect accumulations to be higher than what you may see accumulations that are higher than what is forecast. So again, we'll probably average out in the 6 to 10 inch range with this system, anywhere from Texas to Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, Eastern Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, into New England. Just averaging that out, just within that range. But I mean, it could be lower in some areas, in some instances across the South. I mean, still impactful by all means, but when we're talking all that Arctic cold, like I'm particularly concerned about I mean some of this activity further up into the Ohio Valley, into Eastern Great Lakes. We're gonna watch that fairly closely because the snow ratios are going to be highest up there, and definitely that's where the heaviest snow is expected, just assuming the 10-1 ratio. And if we're talking much higher snow ratios and there's much colder temperatures than what we're favoring here, which is probably going to be the situation here, just by some degree here with what we're seeing on some of the regional runs, on some of the model data that we've been seeing. I mean, I think there's going to be a narrower, slightly narrower area where the heaviest accumulations do occur.
We got some messages here, Isaac.
Where the bands do.
We got some
set
messages.
up, yeah, we'll get there. Where the heaviest bands of precip do set up, and the heaviest snow rates are more consistent. We could be talking some areas over a foot of snow. It's on the table, but again, it'll probably be more localized where you do see those heavier totals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, JD.
Yeah, I was just going to show you what Jonathan showed here. These snow ratios. Do you see this or not?
Yeah, we already got the private.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't.
Jonathan will definitely have the chance to touch with that here as we go about. But again, just once again, for all of you that are joining us this evening, again, definitely be paying attention to headlines in your area. And again, I just be careful on what source you're looking at in terms of accumulation maps and everything like that. You want to trust like your local meteorologists, and but again, just nevertheless, I mean, doesn't really matter like the specific numbers and everything. We're still expecting major travel impacts. And again,
major.
This has been very consistent. I think a lot of us have had plenty of time to prepare for this peak activity here. But again, it is underway. It's the heaviest snows are developing, but also, I mean, the extreme cold has been with us for some time, and now it's much more broader. So again, I mean,
yeah. Here's another thing I was going to say to everybody. Even people trying to treat these roads, or this chemical ain't going to work on the roads, Isaac.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I do agree with that. The grind and stuff that they put on the road didn't even work for Thursday, and we only had about a tenth of an inch of ice. A tenth. That's a little bit of ice, and it caused a 133 car pileup and killed people. That much ice. So even we have to take this a bit more seriously because this is more significant than the Thursday
Yeah.
winter storm that we
Yep.
already seen. So this is a lot more significant, and this will cause a lot more problems. And that's not something that you want to see. And with the weather
No.
service calling this historic and stuff like that, you really have to pay attention to this
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Urgent,
I was gonna say
historic. I mean,
they
those
say something
words,
else in a
they
second.
still kind of words.
Let's.
Okay.
I was going to say something else too. And even when the weather service, I think the other day, decided to pull the trigger and go with this winter storm warning, winter storm watch so quickly, that is not a good thing, Jonathan, is it? When they have to go with the winter storm watch this quick, right?
Right. And let me tell you something about that. When this came out Thursday at 6 o'clock, it came out at 6 o'clock Thursday. It was kind of concerning to us around here. We were already under winter storm watch, and the storm system was still at least 36 to 72 hours away.
Yep.
So if the weather service, and let me tell you, if you go on the weather service website, it tells you that they usually issue winter storm watches 42 hours in advance. So we were way ahead of that in between Thursday and today. And the winter storm warning started at 6 a.m. this morning. And here we
Mm-hmm.
are getting ready for the ice to begin and then change to all this heavy snow and then from the snow to the blizzard conditions. So
You're going to lose power too.
they had a high confidence. They had a high confidence on their storm system. Now power outages, I'm gonna say this again. With a drier snow, power outages are less likely when you get drier snow. If it was wetter snow, power outages would be more sporadic and more widespread. But this is a drier, powdery snow. The problems that you need to focus on with this is road issues for drier snow. And that's a good thing. That's one advantage. But the
Yeah.
disadvantage is we will have road problems everywhere with this storm.
We want to have slide offs, and that's a bit another thing. I'm going to tell everybody just a quick story about the slide off we've been having. The last time I remember this big winter storm we had back in 2019, I remember that did some blowing and drifting snow, and I was getting reports every hour back in 2019 of slide offs after slide offs after slide offs. And when you start having that, that is a pretty bad situation, Jonathan, isn't it?
That is a bad situation. And again, as I said, power outages less likely, um, especially in Texas. But here's the thing: Texas, our state, has asked to when it gets cold, very cold, it's going to be in the single digits, 2 maybe 3 nights in a row. Uh,
Yeah.
Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, single digits
And here's another
around
thing
here.
about here's
And
another and here's another thing about these cold temperatures. What we've been getting the last couple times is we're getting like when we get a bunch of snow on the ground, that's just going to drop that temperature a lot more to the single digits, and that's going to be very cold. And you definitely, if you lose
here's the
power,
thing.
I mean, okay,
I have 1 degrees. I have 1 or 2 degrees Tuesday morning. Okay. If we get with the snow ratios, as me and Isaac was just saying a couple of minutes ago, if we get more than 6 to 10 inches of snow, those temperatures would go sub-zero Tuesday morning. But let me say it like this: if we get less snow, the temperatures will be about, I'll say 5, 6, but we'll still be cold. And if the skies clear out even more, that may drop us sub-zero with the snow cover. And the thing is the South won't get much of a break. You get this one Sunday and Monday. Tuesday during the day it's dry. Tuesday night you get the next storm. Wednesday night everything clears out. So it'll be a big one, Isaac, around the South. And it's very rare to see this kind of stuff. Very rare.
Again,
as I've been
out.
seeing, 1989.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
have a talk.
Yeah, so I mean, with the heavy snow axis that we're looking at again, that the snow averaging well over 4 inches in pretty much a lot of these areas. I mean, obviously we're talking a snowpack and the temperatures that are going downhill. That's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a concern. And as Jonathan pointed out, even as far as south as Texas, like we're
Mm-hmm.
expecting sub-zero actual temperatures. And I mean, this is close to like, I mean, you could be flirting with like all-time record low temperatures
Yeah.
in some areas. I mean, not that we're expecting that. I think the lowest temperature ever recorded in Texas or Dallas was minus
It's
11
-1. It's
Fahrenheit.
no. It's -1. I checked this. It's -1. That's the coldest we've ever been, and um, we'll be close. We'll be 2 degrees off from that. I have us at 1 Tuesday morning. And as I said, it depends on how much snow we get. Um, and with the 4 to 10 inches expected right now, that's gonna be a good snow, and temperatures will likely, possibly fall below zero. Possibly. That's what we're looking at.
So yeah, it's actually minus 8 degrees Fahrenheit in 1899. That's the lowest all-time recorded low temperature in Dallas, Texas. And again, that's just according to weather. Again, and that's according to the National Weather Service directly. Matter of fact, Dallas Fort Worth all-time maximum and minimum temperature here. Again, this would be minus 8
It's
degrees, February
113
12th,
and 113,
1899.
and the highest is 113. I
Yeah,
remember that
113 in
1980.
1980.
Yep, 113, 1980.
Yeah.
Um,
And again,
and that's at
with the
DFW Airport.
snowpack, in lieu of all the snow that's on the ground. Yeah, in lieu of all the snow that's on the ground. Again, a lot of times the sub-zero temperature, it's not just the temperatures, like the snowpack, so the fresh snow on the ground and the dry, cold snow that's on the ground. Generally, what you could be talking about with that is
Mm-hmm.
obviously that could enhance the some of the cold temperatures. It could be enhanced where again, so when it's all when just behind this, the skies are clear further aloft. You got Arctic high pressure over the area in the upper levels, and it's clear. Then obviously the geopotential heights are lower, so there's less solar radiation just overall. So that's gonna it's not obviously you're not going to be talking
Mm-hmm.
like it's not going to be very warm just with the overall air mass that's in place, and then the snow on the
Yep.
ground is going to make things worse
Insulate it
as
and make it
well.
even more cold.
Yeah, again the grounds the snow it not
We have a
insulate
term
where
for
that'll make
that.
it warmer, but I think because
All
again
right,
along
The
with the
Jonathan,
term is
radiation
called
you can say what your term is.
yeah
the
right
term is
so
called radiational cooling in urban
yeah right
areas. Urban areas. It's called radiational cooling. You have fresh snow on the ground. It rises, and if the skies are clear, guess what? Temperatures will go below what's forecasted. So this is a strong winter storm, one of the most significant we've seen for some areas. Let's use Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. And can you believe this? Louisiana is also in some type of winter
Yeah,
storm
I forgot to
warning
say
or
that
winter
too.
storm. That's crazy. I was checking New Orleans' weather. They may see some snow or ice coming into Monday.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're talking about New Orleans. They haven't seen much lately. Galveston, Texas hasn't seen snow in decades. And that is the kind of storm system that we have moving across the south.
yeah.
This
Let
storm
me
system
talk a
will
little
have
bit.
its snow as far south as South Padre Island, Texas. And
Let
that's
me talk for a
crazy.
second again. Here's the last time I checked before I came live earlier, and the biggest snow was the last time the weather station said the biggest one we could get was back in 2018. For my
yeah
area, it was. I mean, definitely. I mean, this is going to be a particularly dangerous travel. I mean, what's the winter? Here's some more facts on the winter storm watch. Once it got put out this early advance, it's just kind of like that is very dangerous and it's pretty significant, right, Jonathan? When they have to put that out this early,
Right, and let me also tell you why they put it out early. The way the forecast models have been trending, I thought usually this is how we think in Texas. When we have these kind of systems, um, last time we had some good snow was on this day. Today's the anniversary of our biggest snowstorm. On this day 11 years ago, 2010, I covered that. 2010, we had heavy snow and we had 11.3 inches at DFW. Fort Worth had over a foot.
wow,
Dallas had over a foot of snow. But at our main reporting site, which is DFW Airport, we had near a foot of snow, 11.3 inches, and it did not melt until the following weekend. This system is looking to set up the same way. We get two
yep,
rounds of snow that could add up. If we add up the totals together,
yeah,
the snow, blizzard conditions Sunday into Monday, that could give us 4 to 6, and then we get a
yes,
more
it will,
significant snowstorm Wednesday. And if you add them together, that could be over 10 inches, easily over a foot.
or even
And
more.
even more with the snow ratios, even more.
Yeah,
And
and here's
the
some other
computer
things I'm going to
models,
say. Here's some other things
the
I'm going to
computer
say too. And like I said, this system, I've been learning in the past when I've been doing weather events and even winter weather events, is if you get, we'll say if we get 4 or 5 inches of snow with the first round, and you get a clipper system would come in, that's just going to add it all up and get more in your yard than you need.
right?
Yeah,
That's exactly
exactly.
right. And with these storm systems, I mean, with these storm systems, we haven't seen anything like this in decades, especially with the cold. Will be near our all-time records. Um, and then I guarantee you, tomorrow will be the coldest Valentine's Day in DFW on
Yeah,
record. If you
I
want to
kind of
go
heard that
check, I
too.
know I got this right. 27, 27 was how is the coldest Valentine's Day. Tomorrow's high is going to be 22 at midnight tonight, and then temperatures fall into the teens with the snow moving in tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow will be the coldest Valentine's Day on record. That's the first record we break. Tomorrow night will be in the single digits. We break the record low for tomorrow night. Monday night will be near sub-zero temperatures with
Yeah,
wind chills near negative
yeah.
20.
Well, here's another thing what we got in place. I don't remember this, but I remember we had the '09 ice storm. Most of Kentucky got about the 2 inch ice. Then in Illinois got almost a foot of snow or more. I don't think we're going to that kind of setup, but you never can roll a bad ice storm like that out, right, Jonathan?
Let me tell you something. Houston will see over an inch of ice. Um,
Yeah, and once you see
Houston to Galveston, they'll
yeah,
see over an inch of ice.
yeah, once you
And
see
then
an inch of ice,
snow.
folks, this is especially if
I
you get the snow on the ice. It's going to once you get an inch of ice, folks, that is enough to start breaking the power lines down, and we have some terrible
no,
tree damage. That's going to be the problem.
not ice accumulation of straight up 1 inch. No, I would
Hmm.
expect maybe some light snowfall, maybe just light snow on top of maybe a couple tenths of an inch of ice, maybe a few hundredths of an inch of
Let
ice,
me
just
say
likelies
this.
of ice mixed in with
Yeah, and
again
even
some of this dry snow that's mixing in with that. I mean, just the temperatures being this low, the snow's going to stick to the pavement much easier. So, like just the
Exactly.
other day, again, just these rural roadways, and again, just like very light snow. Maybe obviously it was less than an inch of snow that fell up here, but the temperatures were in the single digits, and the pavement
hmm
temperatures were very low. So I mean, less than an inch of snow that falls on grassy surfaces it's still enough to make the roadways very slippery. It was
Yes.
still very enough. Like I was driving home on one of the rural roadways, it was really slippery. I wasn't able to maintain traction that
Yeah, I
good.
remember that.
Yeah, and again, just you especially want to be very careful.
Yeah.
Just with your vehicle and have a plan for warmth in case you get stranded.
Yeah, have a plan. Especially have a
And again,
plan.
stay on the main roads if you can.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
once you don't stay on the
Exactly.
main road, we could see, and even what Jonathan talking about, or Isaac talking about, even a 10-inch ice or so. If you got on there with 2 inches of snow or more, that's still going to make it slick. It doesn't matter how much ice you're going to get. It even doesn't matter how much accumulation you would get. It's still going to
And
be a
let me
bad
give
storm. And
another example. We just had all these car pileups across the nation. The deadliest one was in Fort Worth on 35. And I I had to look when this story was breaking. We didn't have much ice that morning. We had heavy sleet overnight, and the accumulations was about a quarter of an inch. And then you look at the pictures and you're like, hold on, what happened? It was black ice on that roadway. That is one of our major interstates. There was black ice. And you have all these cars. Now, let me tell you one thing. When I woke up, the car number was about 50. An hour later, it's 75. An hour
Mhm.
later, it's 100. An hour later, the final number came in at 133. That's too many
Mhm.
cars. 6 people are
Yeah.
dead from that, and that just happened on Thursday. And the TxDOT put out the salt in the grind on Tuesday, the previous Tuesday. So the salt in the grind didn't really do its job, especially not.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to black ice, you can barely see it on the road. It may look wet, but that is a thin sheet of
Yeah.
ice, and it's ready
Black
to
ice
just
is
have
just.
you
Let
slip.
me tell you something else too about black ice. All right, black ice. What concerns me about this is it is where you cannot see it. It's an invisible ice that you're not going to. If you're on the road, you definitely need to slow down because once you hit that brake, that's when you start sliding around like that.
It could also be oversteer and understeer. So
Mm-hmm.
if your vehicle doesn't maintain good traction, and it doesn't really matter if you have like four-wheel drive or anything like that too. If you steer too much, sometimes your wheels, just like when you hydroplane when the roads are
Mm-hmm.
very wet and slippery, and when there's snow on the road, it makes it very slippery. So if you steer too much, basically the slippery roadways are going to make your steering less effective. So you steer too much, then your car's eventually going to skid.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it could skid um, the direction you don't want it to steer, and then what you need to do, and you need to correct it as soon as possible if you're in a situation like that. So
And
if you do end up in poor traction, what you got to do to
yeah.
correct the skid is actually got to turn the direction your car is skidding, and then eventually you got to like be very rapid with your turning motion on the steering wheel, and the best thing to do is to really slow
Well,
down
here's another thing about
and
winter
to avoid
storms.
getting caught.
Yeah, here's some more tips about a winter storm. Is if you have to be out on on a, an important appointment or something, just make sure you dress warm for things. Make sure you take a emergency kit with you just in case you will have an accident or something, right, Jonathan?
Exactly. And let me also say this: with how cold the temperatures will be, dangerously cold. Um, our cities, major cities, have been worried about the homeless, but I hear some of the homeless they're like, oh, I can survive. If I survived the last time it was this cold, I can survive this cold. Let me tell you
You're
something.
wrong out
Between
there.
now, between what happened then and what's going on now, things have changed so much. And this system could drop us below zero. We haven't been below zero in decades. So hypothermia and
Like I
all of
said,
these other things will be a problem, and pipes will be bursting again. Some people's pipes will be bursting because of how cold it'll
yeah,
be.
here's something else I was going to say too,
And if you
Jonathan.
have
Here's something else I'm going to say. Even school buses, they will even start with this cold air too. So definitely you got to keep that in mind. If you're a bus driver, they will start.
Yeah,
right engines will be a problem. Engines will be a problem. Some engines and
So
batteries. That's what I was trying to say. The batteries.
yeah, I just had to get a new car battery the other day,
so
actually.
yeah, so if you
And if the
if and make sure
if the
and
pipe,
the weather radios will be good to have too. Make sure in case you would lose a little power, have a weather radio. A crank up weather radio won't cost too much. Just you got to have multiple ways to get warnings in case you would lose
Correct.
power.
exactly,
Have this too. A
exactly.
cell phone
And
would help
another
you.
problem, yeah, and another problem, if the pipes burst, any of that water would freeze instantly. Temperatures are in the single digits and teens. It won't take much of it
Yeah.
to freeze. I seen some pictures this morning.
No, it
We had a
won't.
few like we seen a few snow showers this morning, and I seen that someone in a neighborhood around in Dallas County, their whole fountain was frozen. So
Yep.
that just goes to show how cold it is.
And folks, make sure you check your faucets because they will
Yeah,
freeze too outside, and you want to end
yeah.
up with the
You
serious
want to
issues
keep
with
the
the.
water. You want to keep the water dripping so it's in motion in the water supply pipes in the water supply lines in your house. So when water's in motion, it doesn't it won't freeze. And if you have exterior
Exactly.
plumbing, if you have exterior plumbing, again, it's like if you have any exposed plumbing, again, this is water supply going into your house, and it's exposed on the outside of your house, or just the supply, or if your water main is above grade, or if it's where it is more likely to be exposed by outside air directly.
Yeah, I'm
Again,
just
if
checking
the
my phone
temperatures
here.
go
Freezing rain in Kansas. I
Well,
think
yeah,
out
we'll
here.
get to that. We'll get to that eventually. But again, it's always good to keep those water lines. You gotta keep some of that water flowing in your water supply. So if remember, if water is stalled, and water's not in motion, then there's no kinetic energy, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually the molecules and everything freeze, and then that's when you get
Mm-hmm.
again well below freezing. The insulation in your water pipes is only so much effective when the actual air temperatures are below freezing. So again, that's when we're talking, water.
Yeah.
Your
Big
water lines
problems.
could freeze, and then
Yep.
if you have no water, if you have no water pressure in your house or anything like that, there's a lot of you don't bother a contractor if they're already busy with so many other houses, and they too many
Yeah, that's the
because
problem. We
they have to
want to
put
avoid that.
themselves in a yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But also
situation.
again, um,
Anyway, I was gonna tell everybody too while we're on here. If you have pets,
Hmm.
a lot of people do, cats and dogs. You make sure you want to have your pets indoors. They could die just like anybody else could out there in that code. Jonathan and Isaac.
The three people.
yeah, right.
The
Again,
the three P's.
it's
The
not
three
really
P's.
safe to be out.
People,
Yeah,
pets, and plants. Cover your plants up.
Yep, looks like we got a comment.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
Oh, that's
It's the three P's. That's
let
what
me
they're
pull that
called.
up for you. I
People,
guess.
pets, and plants. Uh,
And you do, and same thing with your pipes and stuff. You still don't want to make sure if you have a generator with this situation too, in case you would lose a little power.
Yeah, right. Again, you want to make sure the exhaust is pointing away from the home, um, and again, just don't put so much of a heavy load on your generator, too, because again,
Yeah,
if
because
you have natural gas or propane, you want to conserve. Try to conserve, because other people are using. Other people have demands on the natural gas system too, and
all right, somebody just left you a question here.
yeah, it's actually about the Winch formula. Yes, you are correct. Um, again, yeah, correct. So, 5 degrees below is now considered 6 degrees. If I believe what you mean is 6 degrees below.
Yep.
So, yeah, basically, I believe what you meant there is that, for every exact temperature that the wind chill factor is 1 degree less than that, um, I would still have to see, but yeah, I am aware of the wind chill factor, how that is calculated.
Okay.
That
Here's another
change.
thing. And people have, and some people do have these generators where they, run your whole house, and those are good to have too. I mean, to keep you warm.
Yeah, and as we pointed out, you know, uh, there are lots of people, urban and rural areas, that will be significantly impacted, by this system. And
Yes.
even from travel impacts, I mean, we don't expect like we don't expect like a huge widespread blackout to be a concern. We just expect this to be a situation where there's going to be a lot of people at home, and a lot of people will probably have their heat running. And again, there's this. Just be glad this is a weekend, or else I mean this is President's Day
Yes, I'm
weekend,
happy. Right,
and then
Jonathan?
tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So you think of
Yeah,
it.
that's
Lots
concerning
of
me
people are
too.
probably going to their friend's house or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So again,
So here's something else I was gonna,
sorry,
say too.
go ahead. Anything?
If you have to be out tomorrow even, I mean, with this stuff going on, just use some common sense. If you think the road, we warn you, me and Isaac and Jonathan have warned you all week, be pretty significant, and we could get some pretty decent amounts of precipitation that will cause some slip issues. And definitely, I mean, one of these things, what kind of irritates me is these people and say, well, I think we can make it. The roads ain't that bad. Well, if you're thinking that way, you're thinking wrong, right?
Yeah, definitely. So like the main roads, like I mean, just your road, like especially in urban areas, the roadways may seem fine, but they'll still deteriorate rather quickly after they are treated. And again, you may drive a little ways out of town, and all of a sudden it gets really slippery all of a sudden, because again, a lot of the snow plows do prioritize main roadways, and like like interstates and actual like United States and state county highways. Again, each individual county, does again, a lot of your localities and your municipality will likely have a snow removal plan in place. But again, no plan is perfect, especially if you are not in the city. And again, if you're on a back, if you live in a back road or a farm or just away from
Yeah,
town, have a plan to,
yeah.
just
Well, here's one thing. Well, here's what I've been telling some people out there, Isaac. I've been telling everybody, and I've been trying to tell this people on the my folks on the deal this morning what I did on StreamYard, and I said this morning that if I lived on a farm for several years, and what we did when it got really bad is got the not snow plow, snow blader and blade people's driveways, stuff like that. Yeah, and that's another thing you could do too. I mean, if you live on a farm, you might want to be charging up your tractor or something like that and get it ready to go. I mean, because diesel's not going to work good with this whole situation. I mean, and
yeah, right.
and like and it swells up. That's what it does. It doesn't really go good. So definitely, I mean, and even if you have any, I just wouldn't travel on the roads unless you have to. I mean, I know people's gonna go. If you had to get your bread and milk and all that, I would get it tomorrow early, right?
Well, I mean, probably just, see what you have now. And again,
Yeah,
there's no absolute guarantee that, I mean, like some people live an hour away from their nearest Walmart or Dollar
yeah,
General, whatever the case is, or wherever you are.
or all
I mean,
these.
supplies, like supplies and stuff may be somewhat impacted. You never really know. But again, try and make sure that you have what you need in stock now, and you can always try. You can always wait to go to the store when everything is fully restocked and the supply chain isn't like there isn't any kind of interruption or high demand for something too. And again, it's always good to have some emergency supply available. You want to buy all that stuff in advance, not within a day of an impending snowstorm or
Yeah,
anything that's gonna make
yeah,
you don't want to drive. You don't want to drive in the middle of a snowstorm just to buy essential goods that you should have
yeah,
bought earlier
yeah,
too. And that's always important to point out too.
yeah. And like I said, here's another thing I was gonna say. If you like me, like if I'm at my grandma's and we lose power, we would maybe sometimes we don't want to get the hook up the furnace to the wood stove, or not the wood stove, but the heater, not the heater, but the or furnace, to keep it
Oh,
warm in the house. We would fire the
there.
fireplace up around here.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's what we would do. And people need to. That's another option too. People could do. I mean, when the fire goes off with this event. But like I said, I think you could get around if you had to. But just slow down, use some common sense. I mean, I know tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and people go out to eat. Wow, don't drive
oh,
so fast, or you could run into a bunch of cars and
I
let
do want to
snowplows
follow
do
up.
their work. And it's going to be hard. If,
Yeah. JD, I'm going to follow up with, we do have some, we still have some things to address. And again, we've been on here for about an hour, but I do want to kind of reemphasize just kind of what we have going on here. So much of the Midwest, so again, this swath of snow that we're expecting to impact, I mean, the heaviest snow is more likely, again, if for those of you joining us through Illinois Stormwatch outlets. I mean, what we're mostly concerned about in the state of Illinois, in particular, the much of the states under wind chill headlines, wind chill warnings now for like Peoria and like down towards I think
here's
Springfield too.
somebody post something.
Yeah. I'm following up with some comments now, but again, there is a there's I would expect some light snow accumulations with this system here as far north as I would say Interstate 72. I mean, this is where I mean, some light snow probably late late tomorrow into Monday for locations around I mean, the Illinois River Valley as well. I mean, maybe just some light snowfall of 1 to 2 inches. Maybe still something that could stick on the pavement here locally, but I would still expect I would still expect like East Central Illinois, much of South Central and Southwest parts of Illinois. Well, obviously, like well into Southeast, well along the Ohio Valley into Eastern Great Lakes and into New England. That's where snow totals are likely to average like 8 to, who knows, maybe a foot of snow in some area, 8 inches, or I would average about 6 to 10 inches, assuming the 10-1 liquid snow ratio. But I would say,
Yeah,
I think snow totals will be higher than that. Just just given the elongated Arctic cold, the Arctic high pressure that's just been hovering the over the plains in the Midwest these past couple of days, and now
mm-hmm.
we're getting a bout of some of that some of this very good cold shot there, and we got a little bit of a ridge ahead of that that's going to tap into all that Gulf moisture. So I mean, this has been very consistent these past couple
Yeah.
of days. And obviously, we're not expecting blizzard conditions in Illinois or in like in the Midwest, but still some low visibility, some gusty winds, near blizzard conditions at times for those where the driest and the heaviest snow is expected across the south into sections of the Northeast probably. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue where we're expecting like whiteout conditions or anything like that. Probably
Yeah.
gusty winds. And again, that's going to reduce visibilities at times here. And again, I would still expect like sharply reduced visibilities, nevertheless, just given the snow. But again, I think we're at the point where, again, just over the whole region, of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and obviously into the South. I think this is still going to be
Well,
high travel.
I did watch Oklahoma's weather this morning, and Oklahoma's supposed to get maybe 16 inches. That's what they showed on one of the weather stations.
Well, again, I will point out those are build to amounts. I mean, it could average, who knows, maybe a bit higher, but I mean, we're not like, this is not absolutely guaranteed. Like everywhere's going to get 16 inches. It's going to like take out the roadways or anything like that. I mean, this is obviously snowfall that's less common over the South. But again, it
Okay.
wouldn't surprise me to find some localized
Yeah, and it will be.
higher totals.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either if we seen that down there.
And again, this is going to be more of a sporadic concern. Again, broader accumulations over, over 6 inches in some cases, you know. But again, I would still expect, you know, travel to be significantly impacted. It doesn't really matter what amount of snow falls. I mean, it's still just given that Arctic cold. I mean, you could expect like maybe a little over 6 inches of snow, and then all of a sudden, just right off your doorstep, you know, you never know, you could get like either much higher than forecast snow totals, or maybe just if the track just varies quite a bit, and just, you know, if it's, you know, it's very close to onset, so we're more confident in the forecast solution that we've been monitoring closely, or confidence is overall increasing, just what we've been seeing. But still, generally, this would probably likely be a situation again if it were to happen. Just, you know, if when we were watching the 48 to 72 hour total, I mean, when the system was still like 2,000 miles away. I mean, just
Yeah.
one small change in impacts, I mean, could determine where
It can-
some areas
and
2 feet of snow.
It can impact. Yep.
Yeah. And some, if a small change in track when the system's well off into like the Pacific Ocean still, well, it's over the high plains now, but if it were still over the Pacific Ocean, just a small change in track, I mean,
It can mess it up.
whether some areas, or whether one area gets 2 feet of snow, or whether that same area gets nothing at all. If there was a small change.
We had that before too.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen. I mean, some areas do forecast. There's high confidence in seeing like at least 4 inches of snow, and maybe just like 2 or 3 inches fall. And sometimes that does happen. But again, I mean, now we're talking a situation where I think we've been very consistent on all this guidance that we.
Yeah, I mean,
and something's pointing towards, you know, just high
Well-
travel impacts.
well, here's the thing. Me and you've been talking about this. Well, me and you have been talking about this in the last couple of days. All of us have. How significant this was going to be, and it's almost here. So.
Yeah, correct. And again, we do anticipate, again, lingering travel impacts here, just this elongated cold and everything. It could stick around for,
Yeah.
with the system. I mean, there will still be some, even though the snow has ended in some areas, like heading into late Monday, Just over the general parts of the South. I mean, just the Arctic cold and everything. I think there's still going to be some lingering travel impacts here as well. Just as this Arctic high pressure kind of lingers over the region here on the backside. But again, the snowpack is also going to cause some impacts as well.
Yeah, it's gonna have to.
Yeah, but again,
So, like I said, we'll probably see a winter storm warning or advisory. What do you think it'd be?
I would expect with the early morning package forecast guidance package here. So like you're talking like the lower Ohio, the confluence of the Ohio and Mississippi, or more in particular the confluence of the Wabash in Ohio. I think what you're looking at over the rest of Kentucky into the Ohio Valley, I think that's where we're starting to get a little concerned. I think that the highest snow totals that build to, and again, where the heaviest snow bands do set up. I mean, the 6-inch plus totals could be shifting a little bit further east. So I don't think they're at the point where they're confident enough to like throw out a winter storm warning like right now. They would still want to thoroughly check the model guidance, see if it's following that trend, where some of the heaviest snow totals do occur a little bit further east. So that's where they want to include some of those winter storm headlines. And I would expect like eastern sections of the Paducah County warning area. No surprise if it happens in Hamilton County either.
Yeah, I won't be surprised either because here's what I learned. Here's one thing I learned, I think today, and I just told myself this today too, that this is a significant winter storm. I heard this on TV too. When the winter storm went by to go with this winter storm watch the other day, the meteorologist said on Facebook today that, it's going to be, this got put out so soon that he won't be surprised because once we see this, I think it's high impact, that always goes with the warning, right?
Yeah, most of the time when you're talking widespread, like 4-inch plus snow, which was kind of the basis of that initial winter storm watch. Again, what we're looking at is the heaviest axis of the snow, where the snow totals are well more likely to be in that 6 to 10-inch range, obviously averaging out, but obviously will be higher.
I still won't roll 10 inches out.
Yeah, probably even more than that. Where the heaviest snow bands do set up, it probably won't set up right over Hamilton County or anything like that. No, but again, just over a broad swath of the Ohio Valley, Eastern Great Lakes. It's not gonna. I think the heaviest snow totals in Illinois will probably be closest to the Ohio River. We could probably see like some 3 to 6-inch base totals, but obviously some locally heavier totals like further west towards like I-57.
That's what I heard too. And I've been hearing, but one of our forecasters said, somebody said, this is still up in the air.
Yeah, right. But again, there's a lot of travel impacts, so we do, ask that everyone have a way to receive information, follow safety tips from authorities and everything, and just ride this out at home. Again, if you
please do not go out.
Don't venture out if you don't have to. And again, please keep tuned to us and other folks, other official sources of information.
Ben Isaac, I'll probably do an update in the morning. I'll do an update in the morning on this if the warning gets issued.
Yep, and we'll have some additional guidance heading into that. I guess that is probably what we, we pretty much covered most of what we needed to cover for tonight. And this video.
Right now, I'm Vice Forecaster JD Rapp USA.
And this is Isaac Schaaf,
Forecaster JD Rapp, and with with USA. We'll continue to keep you updated.